Houston, Tranquility Base here. The Eagle has landed.
Good evening, folks, and welcome to Alien Addict on this fine and rocky evening. And it is going to be a rocky evening because we're going to talk about some rocks that may have certain features that have a lot in common with things on Earth that have features that we've created. So without further ado, my lover, my brother, that doesn't sound
incest, a game the whole family can play.
It's YouTube. Anything flies, Lee. Anything flies. Lee, how you doing?
I'm good. I've just been wrestling with my cat trying to get out of the room.
Have you?
I'm tired. If that makes any better, I've got all the energy levels.
Yeah.
Of
you're gonna try and do an hour because you've had 4 hours sleep.
Maybe no. I was up at 4 this morning. That's what I've had.
But you said you're gonna do. But you're gonna try and do an hour for us.
I can't leave you on your own, can I?
Oh, we're not. I'm not, man. We got Thomas.
As a host now that people are used to me, I can't leave just you on your own.
Well, it is the dream team. Well, yeah, but this is the good thing, Lee. This is the good thing. When there's two of us, if one of us is ill, there's always got to be a show.
Yeah,
and all that jazz. And we both ginger.
I wish I still took drugs, otherwise this would be so much easier.
Have you dabbled with Mars anomalies in the past, other than
I didn't expect you to say Mars anomalies then.
Did I say Mars?
No, Mars? I didn't think you were going to say Mars anomalies then. After what I said.
Right. Oh,
yeah. I mean, I've dabbled in all that stuff. I think it's dead interesting. I never know what to believe, and I'm sure Thomas is gonna fill me in some more on this stuff. I always think to myself that, you know, if you're sending probes all that distance away with the massive budget that these companies have, that NASA has, and stuff like that, I always find it a bit hard to believe that there's going to be stuff in there that they don't want to be there. You know, stuff like stuff left over. You feel that these things would be vetted so well. And that's always something that's pulled me up with the anomalies.
Without further ado, Thomas, I nearly said Mars, Moon, and Space TV. SpaceLink TV now. For anybody who's old school that knows Thomas, it was Mars, Moon, and Space TV.
Mars, Moon, Space TV in the back. Good old days, as we said. Remember that, Ollie?
We've just had a conversation about that though prior to the show. And just quickly, what happened there? Just tell the audience what happened with your beautiful name.
We started with Mars, Moon, Space TV, and I had that since 2014. And I had a web page. We had a web page, my wife and I. Same name, marsmoonspace.com. Easy, simple, and that was perfect. And we had to renew the domain, and somehow something happened. I think I might have forgotten to renew the domain, and when I went in to renew it, it was sold to somebody else that offered us that we could buy it for about $10,000. And I was like, whoa, and I was just checking out my account, and no, there ain't $10,000, no. So
I bet they've done nothing with it, have they? To this day,
no, they are internet robbers. They are looking for web address that have had many clicks, that has a lot of algorithms, and when the domain name gets available, they buy them up and just buy them for like 20 quid, and then they sell them for like 8,000-9,000 if people have forgot to renew their domain name. Is basically blackmailing.
Scoundrels.
But legal blackmailing, because the name is available for sale if you don't renew it automatically. So yeah, legal blackmail. So, but we ain't taking that crap. So we found a new name, and that became SpaceLink TV instead. So that was how it became SpaceLink TV instead of Mars, Moon, Space.
Well, I like the name SpaceLink TV.
I do as well.
Yeah,
Simple,
it's
compressed.
pretty cool. It's nice. It says it all, don't it? Space, the
It does
link
indeed, mate. Yeah. Well,
in space. Yeah.
yeah. You're not you're not what's the word I'm looking for? It's not just going to be Mars, Moon, and space,
No.
because if you talked
No.
about Venus on Mars, Moon, and Space TV, that people might go, you can't do that because you've called yourself Mars, Moon, and Space TV. SpaceLink TV, world's your oyster, my friend.
You can say so. You can say so. You might be right on that. But yeah, but we have done some Venus covering also on Mars, Moon, space, and it went well, and we all got out of it. But yeah, SpaceLink TV is pretty much a good all-round word for what we're working with, space in general.
So for anybody
link
that doesn't know you, that's watching this, I would say that your good self and Will from What's Up in the Sky 37,
Will Faraya.
two of the people that actually got me into YouTube. You've been around for quite some time doing this. Newspapers have taken your stuff. Sometimes they've not given you credit. In fact, most of the time they've not given you credit.
That's also the truth. Yeah.
You found many things on Mars that are quite famous now, anomaly wise.
Yeah.
I had you on twice. We talked about the Baltic Sea anomaly, which I would say again, you've probably, out of all the YouTubers that look at, you've done the most work with the Baltic Sea anomaly as well.
You might be right on that. I don't know what other people have done, but I have a lot of hours and gigabytes on my computers on working on the Baltic Sea anomaly and talking to people and digging deeper, doing my research. It made it a little bit easier that I knew the team, the Ocean X team, and also was an admin in the Facebook group. So I had a little bit easier to get in contact with the team and get more direct with them. And that was what I did. I got straight in contact with them and arranged a meeting in Sweden. I think that was in 2014. And I met up there with the Ocean X team, and we went out, had a good dinner on a restaurant, and we went out to a little bar where we had some good conversations in that bar. Let me say that alcohol does a lot of things to people. Sometimes it helps a lot, and sometimes it makes it worse. And in this case, I got the feeling that it loosened up a little bit for some of the members when they talked about the Baltic Sea anomaly and the way they perceived it. So yeah, that was interesting, and that journey is never gonna end. I'm still working on more Baltic Sea anomaly. I've made 2 new episodes lately, and was working on episode 3 in my new series about the Baltic Sea anomaly. But as I told you about before, I had something in my private life that took a lot of my time, and therefore I have to reschedule episode 3 and the work with that. But I'm about to get where I am now, and I can continue with my episode 3 and 4 on the Baltic Sea anomaly journey back in time. And that's going to come out in probably in March, April, May. Yeah.
So they are still going out
April,
there,
May, yeah.
Are they still going out and doing the dives?
They are still diving, not to the Baltic Sea anomaly. They still have their team. They're still treasure hunting, and they're still doing commercial diving as well for bigger companies and shipping companies and so on and so on and so on. They're doing what they do to survive. They don't necessarily work together every day, but they got the team, and they do some work when they have the work coming in. I know Dennis, for example, worked with something else when he's back, and Peter Lindbergh worked with something else. Kai Magnusson, that is a captain, has just become a captain of a new boat I saw on Facebook, and that's his daily job. And Ocean X team is what they do on the sideline, but this sideline is becoming a bigger scale, if you could say so, especially after they found the Baltic Sea anomaly and the Russian submarine a few years ago. So Ocean X Team is becoming a really big name on the scene, not just with the Baltic Sea anomaly, but with the diving, treasure hunting, and artifacts. What they are finding, old champagne wrecks and stuff like that. They are a big name now on the scene, and they are very, very busy every day. It's hard to get them talking these days. I have tried, but it's hard, and I understand.
But you've got some good stuff coming up in regards to the actual anomaly, which is the Baltic
In
Sea
regards
anomaly.
to the actual anomaly, yeah, I got some more stuff coming up, and it's more like putting the cards together, putting all the puzzles and all the bricks together in the big puzzles, and asking the questions, what are we looking at? Because there are a lot about the Baltic Sea anomaly that people are forgetting. The square hole frame with the round hole in, for example, that's a famous picture. There are pictures of it. Not actual pictures, they are from their not sonar blue view scan. It exists, you can see it, but people are not questioning it anymore. It's kind of like forgotten. When you
Yeah, it's
see the
kind of
square
taken a
frame
back
with the
burner.
round hole in, yeah. There's a lot of things that needs to be brought up to the surface again, and that's what I'm doing in a little compilation of episodes about the Baltic Sea anomaly and a journey back in time, where we also have been looking at what's been said in the media and what's actually been shown of actual evidence of it being not just a rock.
Without spoiling your like upcoming series of episodes, where do you stand on it, and what it was? Have you if someone had like a gun to your head for the like best guess?
When I heard about it in 2011, I had some UFO experiences in my life, and at that time I had this idea that everything is connected to UFO. So when I saw the Baltic Sea anomaly the first time in the news, and so it looks like the Millennium Falcon, I was still in that UFO mode. So my brain automatically told me it's a crashed UFOs. It looked like a crashed UFO, and it does. It looks like a crashed UFO that has made a long mark all the way up to where it is. But the thing is, when you dig into it, which I also did have been doing that for 13 years now, almost. For example, the 400-meter drag mark is not a drag mark. It's actually a ridge. That's not a depression into the ground, but the opposite up. So already there, what was described as a drag mark turned out to be something else, and that's as being actually. And I know it sounds crazy that I'm using the word, but it's been scientifically explained how this drag mark is not a drag mark, but a ridge, actual ridge. So there are some facts that you need to add sometimes, and sometimes you need to remove some facts. And after been looking at it for about a good year, I turned myself over to the ancient settlement, the ancient construction theory, because what we are looking at after seeing the ROV footages of them, which also is available on SpaceLink TV. It's just Google, going on YouTube and type in SpaceLink TV and search on Baltic Sea anomaly, and you can find the ROV footages. It's just called ROV footages. And you can see them in there. They are very, very interesting. There are about 5 hours, and in total, when you take the 5 hours, there might be 10 minutes in total. That's interesting if you put it all together in one go. So it's a lot of research to go through, but that part of it that's really good and interesting shows you square blocks, square rocks, square corners, not just one, but many places on it. And if you dig deeper into it, which I also have done with some of the photos taken, you can start seeing lines and like brick walls. But these photos cannot be like, they are not very high resolution. They are about not even HD ready 1080. They are smaller than that, and don't ask me for what reason. So it's a little bit hard to use them as a conclusion to what you are looking at because of the resolution on it. Also, that there is only like less than 2 meters visibility, sometimes even less than a meter visibility. Because when you are with an ROV remote operated vehicle down there, and all the propellers and fans are spinning, it's stirring up the silt on the bottom of the sea, and all that gets stirred up like a big dense fog. So the visibility is like kind of sometimes zero. So when you're down there with a little remote operated vehicle, you sometimes have to hover a place for 1 or 2 minutes before you get any actual visibility where you are. So it takes a long time to get actual facts and results from the Baltic Sea anomaly. But I do believe that we're looking at an ancient settlement, and if it was a crashed spaceship, which it's nothing is impossible, but if it was, I would believe that somebody found it and used it, just like we have done today with the pyramids. Found it and used it, and somebody probably be calling it the burial chamber and so on. So this is the same that's happening here. Somebody might have find a nice place to live. It's waterproof. There's a roof on and everything, or somebody might have used it for something else. You know what I mean? I think we're looking at an ancient construction. But I'm not denying the UFO theory.
No, but do you think it's more likely that because I've been dead interested in Graham Hancock's series for a while, and this idea that the human race is a lot older. We've been through different cataclysms throughout time. It could be something along the lines of that.
We are talking. The area it is in was the ice age was 15,000 years ago in that area, so it has to be before 15,000 years ago. If anybody built anything there when it was dry land, so it has to be very, very old. We are talking 15,000 plus years if it is an actual civilization that has done it. And another interesting thing is that if you go down on my profile on Facebook, and it probably have to scroll a month or two down, and you find some posts about the Baltic Sea anomaly, where Peter Lindbergh is talking about finding a second monolith, 7 meters wide, 27 meters tall or long. It's lying on the bed on the floor, and it's same shape as what they have seen next to the anomaly, also known as A2, where they also find something looking like a monolith. So they have found 2 monolith-shaped objects, and trust me, when I cannot say that everything they say is right, but when people like Peter Lindbergh goes out with a post on Facebook and describe what his experience tells him he's looking at, and described it kind of like a monolith, and there is 2 of them
for the audience. Thomas Peter Lindbergh is he's the
co-founder and diver on the Ocean X team. So if a man like him goes on social media and tells what he think it is and uses a word like monolith, is because that is what he is seeing in his vision that they're looking at. They have been looking at these pictures for 10, 20, 50, not 50, but 20 years at least minimum, and they know what they're talking about. But they're not giving a statement either and saying this is what it is. He's giving his thoughts some air on social media, which I find interesting.
We will get onto the Mars stuff, but do you think that's because do you think that's because also they are treasure hunters and they're not going to give away? I imagine, I imagine that if I mean, Indiana Jones, if he's onto something, he's not going to tell another archaeologist.
No.
about that
I
find.
know what you're saying. We've been there and we've been through that because the Ocean X team kept the coordinates to the area secret. So it took, like, I can't remember exactly, but a few years, 3, 4, or 5 years before they released the actual coordinates, because they were afraid of exactly that other people will go out there and discover more and kind of like just steal the honor and everything. Yeah, great, but look what we found, and we did the real thing that they couldn't do. No, of course, they're treasure hunters. They would never give away the coordinates to a treasure that ain't been dug out yet, or research it. So when they felt there was nothing more they could do in regards to going to the object again, they gave the coordinates out in the public via the Facebook group Ocean Explorer on Facebook. So that was so what you're saying, yeah, is the Indiana Jones effect. You don't give your coordinates away unless you already been there and there's nothing more you can do. Then you can tell the others, come here, look at the rest if you want to. So that this is what's happening. But I also know that there's constantly rumors about some kind of expedition out there, and I've heard a little bit also. And one of the expeditions I'm looking forward to see more in TV, because I know there's something coming in TV soon. If I remember correct, from it's been about a year ago since I spoke to Dennis about that. But I would keep an eye out on TV and see what's coming out with the Baltic Sea Anomaly and Ocean X team in the future here. But I know there's no plans of going back with the Ocean X team unless there's a sponsor coming.
So let's get to the Mars stuff, Thomas. So you've been into this. How long you've been doing this now on YouTube? Because you've been doing this long, way. I was watching you like for years before I even started the channel.
I think I started in the YouTube channel in 2013. I'm not quite sure on that, but I think it was 2012.
That's probably
or
about right.
Yeah. I started it and started doing my first Mars video, which I have deleted now. Oh my god! But hey, that was fun. As you know, when you're sitting and looking at yourself 6 years later and think, "Oh my god, I didn't say that," delete that. So in that way, I ended up having, or we ended up, me and my wife ended up having about 900 videos on YouTube, and we had to delete. We deleted about 600 of them.
Why did you delete them?
It was at that time when YouTube were hitting down on people who had used tags like UFO and aliens, and they were blocking channels and demonetizing channels and all that jazz. It's about 3 years ago they did all that, and a lot of channels had issues and was closed down and were called fake news. And so we decided to spend a few days going through some of all the old videos. And there were some of them that we could tell straight away, let's just delete this one here. In the beginning, perception is a funny thing, because in the beginning, and I do admit that I was seeing a lot of things in a lot of pictures, but the more you keep on doing your research, the more you are learning. And when you're looking back at some of the things you looked at in the beginning, you don't understand why you came to that conclusion you came to back then, because now you know much more. You know what I mean? So we have cleaned up as good as we could, and I think we still got about 600 videos on our YouTube channel.
So would you say some of them that you cleaned up was ones that you regret putting out there, that you saw pareidolia?
No, some of them were when I started my YouTube channel. Sometimes some of the videos were done pretty spontaneously, like, oh, there's something, turn the recorder on, no preparations, no no nothing, just straight on and talking and upload. And when you're listening to that afterwards, you can hear sometimes it might went a little bit too fast and it might not sound quite right. Some of them was a little bit amateur-like, you know what I, what I mean. And that was those we took out. The content of it could be discussed also after. As I said, when you're looking back 10 years later on what you did in the beginning, you sometimes think, well, what was I thinking back then? But you know much more now. There are certain curiosity images. I remember putting a title up on one of them and say "little alien hiding behind rock," and it did look like it when you look at the picture. But that was the only time I used that kind of title, and I was screamed at and shouted at, and I was called fake news, and I was called this and that, and that was the kind of videos we took out with all those a little bit pareidolia. We wanted to, if you want to make something big, you got to clean up in your old closet first. And that was basically what we did. We cleaned up in some of the videos we did in the beginning, and only left the best of them, the most informative of them. Also because of my speaking, I'm Danish, and some of them in the beginning was not easy to understand. And when I'm listening to them myself, I'm smiling.
Your English is fine. My Danish is shite, mate. So don't worry about it. There's a massive stigma that comes with anomaly hunters. Where people like to throw fun with things like rocks, this, that, and the other. I started with Mars. I do find when you are trawling through the Mars footage, sometimes you get the little parts, and you'll have seen these where they look like they've been covered up by NASA themselves. They look. You get that blurring effect, and you get a blatant mask of Photoshop.
Fake sand, as we call it sometimes.
I've seen that. I've seen it on your channel. You've pointed out, and I've seen it on Will's channel. He's pointed out. There's not many channels that point that stuff out as an anomaly. They just point out the rocks, but you guys have pointed out where they've covered shit up.
The covered it over where it's so clear that you can't.
How many rovers are we on now? Is it 4 rovers?
Oh no, I think there's 5 now.
Yeah, but 4. Is it 4 that have been taken for the pictures? Is it 5 for the picture? Have we had 5 for the pictures?
I think we got the Soyuz. That was the first. Then comes Spirit and Opportunity, and then comes the Curiosity, and then Perseverance. So that should be 5.
And Curiosity,
the Mars Insight lander also. That wasn't a rover. That was a lander, but with cameras on as well also. So we got a few eyes up there.
We've got more eyes up there than we have on our moon.
I think so. If you don't count telescopes from Earth,
So, what do you think it is? Because you've pointed out so many anomalies, and you're welcome to share whatever you want to share. Because I know you've got some stuff that you want to show. But do you think there's there is something on Mars living now, or do you think it is something from a past?
Absolute. I think absolute. There's something up there now. There's something up there now. Let me share my screen here. Let me see. Share screen. And now I just gotta find out what I'm doing here. It's always interesting.
So you think there's intelligent life still there now?
I think there are in intelligence life up there now. Yes, absolute. I do believe it. Can you see my screen here?
No, not yet.
Not yet, mate.
Not yet. It might come. It is set to share. Or have you got to allow sharing?
It's not popped up yet, but when it comes up, I can press allow. It's not popped up.
Oh, sorry. It's me here. Window. There we go.
Oh, there we go. Got you.
There we go. Let me just see if it works. Yeah, it works fine here. Yeah, it's also a funny story with this one we're looking at here. Speaking of life and civilizations on Mars, if you look at ancient history, Enki's, I think it was the fifth tablet, describe how King Alalu was sent to exile on Mars, and how it actually describes how his craft was descended on the edge of a cliff to look over the what was the English word for it? Not valley, but look over the area from above, and it described how it descended never to fly again, which basically meant that they took off the AG components in it, so it couldn't fly anywhere, but still was full functional, but without being able to fly. And they described it as landing on the edge of a rocky mountain area, and King Alalu was sent there in exile with Ansu, his commander. This picture shows an area on Mars, and the good thing about this picture is it's taken with the Mars Global Surveyor, which is a satellite that's no longer is in use. It died in 2006. Funny enough, only 2 months after they had the new satellite in orbit, but that's another story. The old satellite took pictures from a slant. It didn't took it from straight up and down. It took it from a slant from the side and down. And where the new Mars
I was
reconnaissance
just about to
orbiter-
say that.
Yeah.
Is this
So-
from above, or is this a slant?
It's from above, but from a slant. It means that the satellite is looking ahead and down. So that makes it possible for you to see the side of, for example, a cliff wall or construction, because before you would only see the top of it, but now you can see the one side of it, and it actually becomes 2D, if you know what I mean.
Uh-huh.
And this is what we're seeing here. We're seeing this object placed on the edge of the cliff, exactly like described in the fifth tablet. And I was told when I posted this in 2016, I have to say it's my good friend Brad Colling Shepard from Lunar Anomaly Research Society on Facebook that sent it to me and said, have a look at this. And the picture is from 2000, so many people could have had it up. So I'm not the first bringing it up. But this one here was taken in 2000 from the side, and you can see the side of a construction, and you can see part of the top of the construction that we are looking at, and this gives us a different angle of viewing it, which makes it easier to see something that would stand out that you wouldn't see if you, for example, if you're looking at a house on Google Earth. You would see a square frame. You wouldn't be able to see the walls on the outside of the house because you're looking at the roof straight up. On this way, you can see the one side of the house, so to speak. So this is an amazing picture. But I was told that this one was an error on the photo, and it was actually a person that I trusted a lot that worked with the downlink from the MGS satellite on NASA back the time when they were transmitting. So he told me that it was a photo print, an error on the photo. And actually at one time he almost convinced me, and I was sitting there and looking, yeah, it looks like it's just somebody touched the negative or something.
Just reverse there a second. Who told
Yeah.
you that it was an error on the photo?
That I won't give his name out because
Is it somebody from somebody who?
It's a guy who worked on the downlink station where they had the information coming from the Mars Global Surveyor coming, and he was one of them who handled and treated the images coming out of there. And the reason I have trusted him is because he have shown me other interesting things before, and this is the first time that he's telling me that that's probably just a photo damage on the negative or something like that. And I was a bit surprised with that person telling it to me, because I never thought he would say anything like that, but I almost believed it, and I was sitting there and comparing it to errors on Apollo, some of the Apollo orbiter images where we have these errors on the negative, where it's been touched or something, there's damage on them. And I couldn't find anything like that. So for years, I walked around with this picture after presenting it, didn't really know if it was real or not. And people say it looks real, but as soon as you tell them that I've been told it could have been an error on the negative, they're like, yeah, I think so too. And it's already debunked. I'm like, it can't be debunked. And I'm not sure, because there's a shadow underneath also from the object where under it, where it is on the rock. There's something more to it.
Yeah, I don't
No.
Lee, I know you've got to shoot off, but just quickly before you disappear, do you buy the error?
No, and let
that's
me show you why, because I'm going to take the next picture. The picture we saw before was from 2000. This one was taken the year before, exactly a year before, same month, a year before, in 1999, and shows the same object, not as clearly, but you can see it on the picture. So
Thomas,
that
Thomas,
picture,
go back to the other one. So is the other one enhanced at all?
no, that's a clearer and better picture. Everything depends on what altitude the satellite is and when it's orbiting again. And
So
picture,
this piece of footage here that we're looking at,
yeah,
this has not had any Photoshop enhancements
no,
or anything.
nothing at all. I've taken it straight from NASA. So only I enlarge it over on the right side on that circle you can see with the object in. That's the only thing I've done to it. I haven't touched any colors or contrast or anything. I used it straight from the source.
Just one second, Thomas, because Lee's gonna have to disappear. But
okay. I just before I go, I just want to say that, do you put any stock in the because I'm not like a particular flat Earth guy, but I do think that there's the flat Earth people have like pulled up different parts of things where there's some meat to them and just come up with the wrong answer in my eyes. Do you put any stock in the idea of like faking Mars photographs? You know, when you see like the rovers on Greenland and stuff like that.
No. It's there's a simple answer to this. Yeah, we have rovers on Greenland. Yeah, we have rovers in Canada, and they're working in similar environments. You ain't sending a $4 billion rocket up with equipment on for I don't know how many $1 million without testing it first. When you have it up there, it's just like the International Space Station. Right now, we have an International Space Station on Earth also, but submerged in a giant basin in water to be able to handle situations. We will have to be able to do the same thing there, to be in their shoes, so to speak. And this is the same here.
Do you believe in the moon missions that we landed on the moon?
Yeah, I do. I do believe we landed on the moon, but I don't believe that what we saw was from the actual moon landing. That was pre-recorded.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah.
Because they wouldn't, and they know they couldn't show what was on the moon. They knew it, and that's probably also the reason it's been taking so many years before we actually came back again. Or planning to go back with humans.
Yeah, no, I just because the especially when it comes to space exploration and NASA, I always end up coming from a place of distrust. What comes, because
never a straight answer.
Well, it's the fact, like I remember. I don't know if you remember the Antarctica CDs you used to get, and old PCs, like the old encyclopedias, and I spent ages obviously you only had like small clips of like video footage on those, and one of the video clips was the Neil Armstrong getting out of the lander, and I spent ages just watching that looped over and over and over again when I was a kid, and I was fascinated by it. Then I go outside and look at the moon, and I just think, oh, fuck my god, like these people just went up there and they landed and it was all crazy. And then as I got older, I started to disbelieve things, and I like everybody in the early 2000s, I watched A Funny Thing Happened on the Way to the Moon. I was like, oh my word, I think they actually did fake it. So then I get to the point where I am now, especially when you see, I don't know how much you've looked into like what appears to be like blatant manipulation of footage on the ISS. That I've had friends of mine which aren't are video experts and work in film. They don't they're not a conspiracy theorist like I am, but when I show them pictures of like masks failing behind astronauts and astronauts disappearing before they go through doors on the space station, and they're like, yeah, well, it's weird and it looks like it's faked, but and then that's when they disappear. I just wonder how you can trust stuff that comes from people that seem to have faked so much.
Oh, hang on a second. I lost my sound. Hang on a second,
Oh no.
guys. Oh, you're back.
Yeah.
Oh, you're back. Just don't want to put this one in. Sorry, I lost the last 20 seconds.
I was just like I don't know how much you've looked into like the fake stuff going on the International Space Station, you know, there seems to be clear manipulation with some like masking going on.
I haven't really spent time looking into on, however, there could be anything faked about ISS. I fully believe
there is 100%. I would say, like gun to head, I would go 100% that there are at least scenes that are supposedly on the International Space Station that are faked. I've sat there with my friends that like work in video and cinema. They're not conspiracy theorists, and they use the like After Effects and stuff like that like every single day. It's their day job, and they're saying, well, it's clearly there's an especially good one where the astronauts like disappear, warp essentially, and the background stays the same, and it's clear that a layer's failed somewhere. There is.
Are you talking about the one where the astronaut goes through the thing and then
no,
disappears?
that's a different. That was the next one I was going to bring up, and there's another one where an astronaut is flying down the side of like compartment of the ISS, and he disappears before the opening of the door. Like he fades out, where you can see that there's been a mask put in the wrong place on the door, and as the astronaut goes through it, he fades out before he goes into the next compartment. There's no it's some of the clearest, I'd say, like fuckery of anything I've ever seen, and that's where I struggle with this stuff, because I think, well, if I think there was some manipulation done with the moon landings, I can see there's some manipulation going on with what we're being shown that's going on in the ISS. And I can even understand why maybe we get like a sanitized version of whatever might go on in the ISS, because it
sanitized version of Mars.
Yeah, it could be like a like national security or something like that. But if they're faking that, why aren't they faking everything?
What if, as I said before, we went to the moon, but we couldn't show it? As I said before, even ISS has its twin station here on Earth down the basin. Maybe I have no answer for NASA for what's going on, but we know that they made a fake video of the moon landing. We know they went there, but they didn't show it, and there was a reason for they pre-recorded it, because they know they couldn't show it, and they were transmitting it like alive, and people were actually believing that it was live. Maybe there have been activity in one way or another, so they have done it from Earth, similar made a moon Apollo. Let's call it a Apollo mission to create a fake video, not to show what's real. I ain't denying, but I haven't seen those clips with ISS. I haven't looked for them.
The ISS stuff is really worth looking into. It's pretty crazy.
Because I look at the things that are being taken out of the windows, and I must be honest, I haven't really followed inside the ISS space station at all. I'm a technical guy. I look at what the cameras give us and what the satellites around them are transmitting back.
I get what you're saying though, Lee. You're saying that like we get these images from Mars, and they do, and something like this here.
Simple as
I
that.
mean,
If my girlfriend was to cheat on me twice, I would probably be aware if she went to get milk.
I am thinking there's always a reason for everything, and I do believe that if they have chose to make a stream from the ISS station that wasn't from there, it makes it even more suspicious to me, because that would confirm to me that there's something up there they don't want us
Something
to know
worthy
of.
of hiding.
And that could be on the station or around the station, or something that could be visible when they're passing a window. I have recordings of Samantha up there sitting and pointing out the window, and when she's sitting and pointing out the window, it's not just one but two UFO drops by and making zigzag patterns in the background. I've used that clip for basically all of my documentaries, and I think if they want to avoid anything, that's the kind of video clips they want to avoid, where you just suddenly see something you can't prepare yourself for. I can't see why they should be faking ISS though, and I can't imagine them doing it either. But I'm not denying anything, because if they are doing something fakery, it's probably not because they're not there, but probably more to hide what's there.
What's going on? Yeah.
Yeah.
But you got told that this here.
Yeah, back to this one. Yeah, I was told from a source that this was a arrow on the lens, probably, and I should not put too much in it. And they have already shown the picture to the whole world and this and that, and so that was what I was halfway believing in. I had the picture for many years, but then just suddenly it hit me. What the fuck? Oh, sorry.
You can say fuck on here. It's a fuck channel. It's definitely a fuck channel.
What the fuck? Okay, fuck. What the fuck is am I doing? I'm a satellite analyst. Why don't I go in and find the actual area on Mars and see what kind of satellite images has covered that area? And you can do it on Google Earth. Go in on Google Earth, click on the Mars versions, and go in and type M1800558. And Google Earth will take you to that area. When you are in that area, you go out in the menu on your left side and you click on CTX images. Or you forget about the CTX. You come in on the side on Google Earth and you type in that number M1800558 and it takes you to the area, and there's a little red square on the screen on Google Earth. That's your satellite image. When you click on that little red square, you're taken to the direct NASA site where the satellite image is viewable. But on the Google Earth, there are many red squares, and you can click on any red square that actually passes over the same area and get other satellite pictures up from the other areas. Unfortunately, there wasn't many in that area, but this was the one that confirmed to me that it was not an error on the lens, because this one was taken a year before. And a year before, you can still see that object down there. It still have that structure that looks like two windows split it up in the middle. That was 1 year earlier. So we can debunk the debunk and say it's not a lens error on the lens. It's something that's actually there, and you can see it in two satellite images. And I think that for when I found the one here on the, I call this one MO4, but that's just to list my pictures and anomalies. That anomaly in general I call M18. When I found this one here on the MO4 picture, I was like, wow, really, whoa, this was the biggest breakthrough for me in a long time. Not that it was a good picture, or that it shows us much, but it proves that the anomaly isn't a photo error. Yeah. It was a confirmation that it's not an error on the lens from the year after. It's also there in 1999.
So did you contact your guy and say you fed me?
No, he's dropped out of the game. He's asked This told me to leave him alone now. He don't want to play anymore. And I respect that. He's done a lot of good work, and if you're listening, I'll thank you for everything you've done. You've been amazing. But I know I don't speak to him anymore. But in general, when you're getting a confirmation like this that you are right and he's wrong, it's like I had a little victory dance, if you can imagine that, on the floor here. Yes, it wasn't a mistake. But anyway, I went on
Did
to
you
Google
send him
Earth.
this? Did you send him
No,
that?
I have. He sees my channel. I know he sees it, and so he'll see it sooner or later. Then I went in again on Google Earth and saw what context images that was taken of the same area. And context images are a little bit different. It covers a wider area, and therefore the resolution is not the same. Context images are used when you, for example, wants to find a landing area for a landing site for the rover or anything. You look at a context image, and when you find an area, you get a closer, high resolution image. But these are the first images. These are the images you're looking at is the same that is used to cover Google Mars. So when you're looking on Google Mars and you zoom in, you're looking at pictures from the context camera from the Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter. This one was taken in 2011.
Is this the same?
That's the same object that's there in
From a different angle?
2011 from a different angle in a little bit worse resolution, but you can see it's still there. There's still something sitting there on top that used to be shining and smooth, but it's still there. So the question is, what are we looking at? We got 3 different satellite images now from 3 different years of the same anomaly, showing that there is something there. And it's kind of like it's amazing. It's a breakthrough. It's just kind of like what I think should be on the news when we are talking live in the universe, because definitely there is a structure to it. I measured it, and it's 148 meters wide. I can't remember what that is in feet, but times it with 3, and that's about that.
That's a big motherfucker.
Amount. It's about 400 feet, 460 feet wide. So it's bigger than a ship. It's not a little tiny disc-shaped object. It's a huge. It's a it's a huge construction we're looking at. It's not just a tiny little dot or a lens error. This is something big and massive that's lying there, and it's smooth, it's perfectly rounded, and you can see it's not a part of the cliff. It's not photoshopped. It's not an error. So what are we looking at? It's 148 meters wide. So is this a UFO parked on the side? Is it a construction we are looking at? There's been many guesses, and I remember I had it up on the Mars conferences in 2016 in Alabama and in 17 also. I remember my friend Louis Michael Reinhardt describing it as an observation platform, underground observation platform from the surface, and other people has described it as a ventilation shaft. I don't know about that, but it's possible. Everything is possible. I still believe that it could be something that once landed there and haven't taken off yet. If you know what I mean.
Have you ever asked you? Have you ever said, like, looked at this thing and thought, how could this be natural? Let me try and debunk. Like, let me debunk myself and say,
yeah,
that this is, I see the shine.
Yeah. This is exactly what I'm doing. I'm not trying to debunk myself, but I'm trying to ensure myself that we are looking at something real here, and it's not just one picture. One of the things, and I see in the anomaly hunting community, especially on social medias, is that a lot of them that do actual research come out with one picture. I've done it myself. I've found one picture, for example, from curiosity of an object. That's it. They don't come out with 2, 3, or 4 pictures from different angles. Very rare you see that. And this is what I'm trying to change now by also sitting and looking. I look mostly into satellite images, and I'm sitting and trying to find the different areas, see what satellite images has been taken of those areas. And this is the result you have here. It's a confirmation of the existence of that anomaly we've seen there taken over a 12-year of period of time, and it's still there. And I think it's amazing what you can do with a little bit of research. There's another one I would like to bring up as well here. You remember that one?
I remember that one. Yeah. Loads of people like to add color to it.
Yeah. I found this one in 2000 and
was it you that found
14.
this, Thomas?
I found that one, yeah. And
this is everywhere. This is
and there
people color this like all the time. They color this. Scott C. Waring loves it.
Yeah. But there's a funny story to it also, because at the time in 2014, the Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter had taken 480,000 pictures. So that's a lot of satellite images. When I'm sitting and looking at the images, I'm finding an area I find interesting where I can sit and pick out all the different satellite images from that area. And trust me and believe me when I tell you that when I found that was pure random luck. It was a random satellite images sat and looked on a random day at a random time, and this popped up. But that's how you find things. You never know when things are going to show up. But it popped up. And as I said, there's 480,000 images at that time from Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter. I made a YouTube video with it right away, and it went viral. 2 days later, I saw 5 other YouTube stations that just suddenly, in an amazing way, between 480,000 images, have found the same anomaly by coincidence. I wanted to present it. And I was like, yeah.
That happened to me once.
And I even saw some of my pictures where they had removed you can see this one, the UFA logo and the Mars Moon Space Photo Zoom Club logo that it was back then on the right side, and removed that and used the rest. And I was like, I did get a little bit pissed, to say the least, because this was a good finding, and it went viral as it should. That's the whole purpose. It is to make it go viral and that people see what's up there. So the mission is completed. It was a success. But behind the scenes, I got a bit annoyed.
Can you get this? Can you get this? Have you got a larger version of that?
Yeah, I've prepared myself here. I have. Let me just go back again. I can take it up a little bit here, because this is one satellite image. When the reconnaissance orbiter is taking satellite image, it takes stereo pairs. It basically means it takes 2 images of the same area, but not on the same time. So when people, and this is what I talked about before, you got to find the other images and look at them as well. And this one, again, as the other UFO on Mars, confirms itself again, because the image we're looking at here is a stereo image of the same we are looking at here. This is the same image just taken a month later of the same object. And the only difference there is that some of those white areas you can see here are a little bit different in their shine, which tells me that there's a difference in time, and the sun probably have come from another angle, or slightly another angle that day when it took that. But these are 2 different pictures of the same
Can I ask, did you just, where other than in the middle, did you see any other anomalies in this picture?
In the middle?
Yeah, other than the big square looking thing in the middle. Did you
the Stargate?
Did you see anything else in that image?
In the beginning, I only saw this, but we have been looking the whole image through, and it all
just
like...
zoom in, because if I'm not saying that this is some sort of like, it does look like it's got like intelligent design to it. Okay, so it looks like a wall.
Yeah.
Uh,
Now
I'm not.
I'm gonna put you to a test, Oliver. You can see my hand here on the screen.
Yeah.
Yeah, from here to here.
Yep. Then
How
down.
many meters do you think that is? Because to understand what you're looking at, you have to understand the size of it. That's sometimes the most important. So try guess.
I would say, judging by the look of the landscape, about 600 meters. That's 600.
600 meters. That means that it would be huge, like almost 1,000 feet. Let's take it. I got
Because it looks like a big canyon.
Here we go. 145.5 meters long.
Jesus.
So again, it's almost exact same size.
Sorry, I didn't mean to say 600. I meant to say 60 meters.
60 meters. Okay, that's a little bit closer. So this is a huge anomaly again, and when people told me, and again that was the same guy from before that I'll keep his name for myself, that gave me a comment on it and said it was nothing but a sand formation, and I was like, yeah, right, 150-meter long sand formation, fully straight on top, that looks like a wall and is connected with other walls that all have 90-degree angles. 150 meters. He was like, I'll tell you, there's nothing in that image. And well, I'm glad I didn't listen to him, because that image went viral. Really viral. But the size of it is so important, because if you don't know,
just to let the audience know, Lee has had to bail because he's not very well. He's fading fast, but he didn't want to. He didn't.
Rest in bed.
Yeah, don't say rest in peace, because that means he might snuff it in the night.
Rest in bed.
So when you look at this, go back a second with this anomaly, because I've seen this. I've seen this a few times, and I've only ever focused on that in the middle. But if you go across to go to the right.
Yeah, over here on this side over here. This is where you want to look at.
How big are those things that look like a staircase? How big is each one?
There would be,
and that's probably my pareidolia coming out that note.
As this over here is about the same length, 150 meters. So they I don't think they're actually stairs or anything like that. That's way too big. But you got down here, you got a little measuring here, putting these in every time, so you can see what 492 feet is. So people have a chance to.
I've seen so many people put this out, and they've messed with it.
Mm-hmm.
And they've made it look like some sort of
the funniest
alien contraption. When in reality it is just kind of like blended in with it, but the shape of it, and there's so many different pieces of symmetry there that make it look like it's it's like almost like it's revealed something that's under the surface that's old, not new, because so many people and people will have seen this on YouTube, make this look like it, and they Photoshop the shit out of it and make it look like some sort of
it's a shame.
A reveal of an alien craft.
Yeah, no, I think people are making a little bit too much out of it to get either clicks on YouTube or clicks on their website. It's a shame, because they're destroying it slowly for us who wants to bring something good out there. It's
has this one been enhanced, or is this one
this one it's all raw. There's nothing done to it. It's from the high resolution image, which you have a special software to look at the pictures with, so you can zoom in very, very close. It's also from there you got the measurement tool, so I can put it in down to the right and give you some data on it. And funny thing, we talked about the other people who copies your stuff. Everybody that has shown the image has shown this image here from this PSP 009760265. That's the
Found
image
by
they have
none other
used.
than Thomas,
Yeah.
people. Any
Nobody have.
motherfucker putting this out, Thomas found it first.
And the funny thing, and nobody of all them mega brains up there have posted any other pictures from the area. I'm the first person to come with even with a stereo picture of the same anomaly, just to confirm it within a time frame of a month in this case. And the same thing again here. I'm gonna jump to here because this is what I told you about also with the first picture of the
This is the same
UFO.
object.
That's the same object, but this is from the CTX image that's taken in 2008. Later, it's actually no, it's taken the same month as the stereo picture is, and it's showing the same object. So now you got three different satellite images showing the same object. One of them is a CTX, with is a not a high resolution, but it's you can see it's there, and you can see the square. It's there. You can see it.
So can
And
I
if you
just
look,
stop you there, Thomas, just for 1 second? Because when I used to do this on Google Earth and Google Mars and looking at NASA footage from the rovers, you would see I would see an anomaly in one frame, and then when the frame went on and the rover went round, I'd realize, nah, it's just a rock. It's just the angle that it was. This this being a different later on still looks weird. It still looks weird.
yeah. It's confirmed. The object is confirmed on three different satellite images, and that's the most important thing when you come to disclosure. This is of course the worst resolution we have of it, but it's still a confirmation that the object is there on three different time of the year. So that's in regards to disclosure, that's the best thing we can do, document and find so many pictures of the same anomalies, so we can rule out, for example, photo lens errors or whatever, scratches on the lens or whatever we haven't been told throughout the years.
So this is 291 meters.
No, it's this is where I show you how I measure it. There is a
It's
measuring
100 and something meters.
Yeah. It's measured in pixels. NASA tells you how many centimeter one pixel is, and you can see that down the in the blue area here.
Yeah, but 145.5 meters long.
That's the length
of symmetry. Not only that, if this line that's going down next to the PX, what about the line that's on the other side that's halfway up that? Now, you can get symmetry, but to get symmetry from all angles, there's quite a few angles there that has symmetry. And all I will say to the audience here, because I do feel for, I think the Mars anomaly hunters have been tainted over the years through people putting out bullshit and
there has been some.
And just color, that guy that color. What's his name? Oh, Scott Seawaring. Yeah, the guy that colors.
Oh shit. Yeah. I'm allergic to that name.
Yeah, he's copyright striked me twice for talking about his squirrel on Mars. But all I will say to the audience watching this now, if you were looking at Google Earth and you were looking at actual Earth and you found this in the desert, would you think, holy shit, I've just found an ancient, what do you call it? An ancient
construction,
structure.
half buried structure.
Because it's on Mars, we are bonkers.
This is why
I understand what Lee was getting at. What Lee was getting at is, if you can't trust them for the stuff that they've released in the past, but they've put some of this stuff out. You know, I think he's thinking, what if they're just fucking with us? I don't think they
Yeah,
are.
but
I think the master.
I
There's too much. There's too much. I have scrolled
yeah,
Mars.
they're not fucking with us, and they're hiding stuff clearly, and we had the conversation before. Go back to
Oh, don't get me wrong.
after.
I do think NASA's fucking with us. Just
Yeah. This is what
not
I'm
with.
saying. A good example is go back to Apollo 11. My good friend Ken Johnston was the guy in charge of the photographs and the downlink at that time. I just lost it there when I said.
So this
Oh,
is this
I
is this is this is
just had a black moment. Sorry.
this is
I'm getting old.
massive.
Yeah, it is. Oh
So,
yeah, I
so
was about to say the story about fake sand and debunking. We know it from Ken Johnston that was responsible from the photos from the Apollo 11, and we met. I've met her too, Donna Hara. I spoke to her as well, also that actually worked on Johnson Space Center with airbrushing UFOs, and that was what she did. And I spoke to her a few times about it, and she was hired to sit and airbrush with another group of women and men, everything out that came down from the Apollo missions. So if they did that in the 1960s, what should prevent us from thinking they ain't doing that today? It's the oldest trick in the book.
so why do you think they don't airbrush over this sort of stuff, or not airbrush
I,
it, Photoshop over it?
I think because they believe that people are not ready for it yet.
No, I mean,
I,
why did they not cover that up?
this one, I think
If you think that's something, why did they not cover that up?
a picture like this, that's a satellite image, is a little bit harder to cover up. Mostly because, as I said, right now the Mars Reconnaissance satellite has taken over 2 million pictures now. 2 million pictures, and these pictures are huge files. This one here, I think it's about almost a gigabyte just for one picture, and sitting and going through all of them would have to be a job for university students or something like that they hire to sit and go through that. But again, they would have to have hundreds and hundreds of people to sit and go through all them satellite images. If you give one person a satellite images like this, give them the full satellite image, they will spend, trust me, 2 hour minimum just to go through it one time, and then they would have to go through it again to make sure they didn't miss anything. And I think that sometimes when they had that at the the university, Arizona State University, that they got some perfect students there, and I think that some of them made some whoops once in a while. They missed it. They hurried up. They didn't look probably, or they were sitting and talking, or not focusing when they did that job. And that's what I think we see. That's also what I think we see in with the M18 anomaly. It was a whoops in the first picture available. Nobody noticed it because it was very weak. But the second picture it was so crystal clear. Everybody noticed it. At that time, it didn't matter removing it from the upcoming CTX in 2011 because it was already out. So there's no reason to remove it. Just leave it as it is. And I think it's the same with this one here we're looking at. I think there are some students somewhere on Arizona State University that's been rushing a little bit too quick through a lot of satellite images in their spare time. And this is how we sometimes get some whoops here and there that we can find and we can sit and share on.
Is there a color version of this?
There are color versions, but when you go into
real color versions,
they are, but it's a little bit more difficult because the original picture is very wide. When they do a color version, they only color one stripe of the original satellite image, so you don't get the whole satellite image. The color, the middle of it is like 5 kilometers out of 25, and that's what you get. So sometimes you can be lucky that your anomaly is in that area where you also can get a colored version of it, but this anomaly is outside that area of where they do the IRB and the RGB colors. Which is the infrared and blue and the red, green, and blue colors done photographs, which sometimes are amazing pictures to look at. But in this case,
you got
it's
a
not
question
covered
there,
there.
Thomas. Are the pictures used from the NASA archives?
Are the pictures you use from the NASA archive? All the pictures I use here is from Arizona State University, that handles the not the downlink but the upload from on NASA's homepages. So yeah, they are from NASA's archives. Yeah, these are from the satellite archive from the Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter on the uahighrise.org. Everybody can go in there and find them if they know how to use them and download them and look at them. That's another thing, but everybody can go in there and find an online version of the same picture they can scroll up and down at.
Would you say this is your greatest find?
This one is probably my greatest, the biggest one I've come up with. I've promoted a lot of other good findings that I have made my versions of them, where I'm not the first one. The UFO you saw just before, I'm not the first. There's been many others by me, but this one is definitely the most known one I've come up with. The best one, yeah.
I saw you did a video the other day. Well, I said the other day, a bit back, where you was doing kind of a tutorial for being an this was actually
images.
there.
That was also in it, yeah. This is also when you're looking at astroarchaeology. You're looking and trying to find areas like this. When you find this specific picture on the NASA website, you don't realize how big it is. I thought like, oh, it's a construction of a house or a building. How cool is that? It's clear to see there's a square frame. It's a big house or something. Definitely there has been a building or something there. There are definitely some outer walls there. And then I went in. You can see I've put a red ring around it. The side, the image is like 2 miles wide. So this square frame you're looking at from a satellite here that you can see is actually 1.7 kilometers wide, which is bigger than our biggest churchyards in Denmark.
Have you measured corners?
It's 4 football fields.
Have you put tried to put a line? I mean, what would be interesting is to put an actual measurement in from that top corner to the other top corner that pops out, and then join them and see what the measurements are. Have you done that?
I haven't done a cross check on it, no, because the map the NATO provides us with the scale image width, and I have to do that. But
you could literally just do that from a screenshot.
I have to divide the picture up in 10 units, and then I know what every unit is in size, if they're equal size units. You know what I mean? Just like a measurement. Then I can take and measure it straight on here, or measure the straight the wall only.
Because if it was equal each side,
yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah, holy shit. But this is city sized. This is bigger than the city I live in now. And we got 50,000 people here in an area smaller than that. So, so this is big. This is really big, city-sized anomaly, and I'm still wondering today what are we looking at, because it's also one of the most famous pictures. If people want to become anomaly hunters, there are some groundbreaking pictures you have to know of. There are. Obviously, the two pictures I showed you earlier of the UFO on Mars and the big alien construction, or whatever it is, and then this one. These are some of those that goes in history, that everybody have seen and need to know about, but nobody know about the sizes. It's I've got the feeling that I'm the first one who's begun to put size estimate, not size, but
Whereabouts
size
is
measurement
this?
on. This is the satellite image. I can find it on Google Earth and show, but it will take me some time. But it is
It's
on.
not close to the head on Mars, is it?
To be honest, I don't know with this one. I'll have to look it up on my satellite.
That head has
Data.
that head has changed over the years.
Yeah, the Mars, the face of Mars. Yeah, it has changed a lot. It has changed a lot. And
What we're looking at
think
here.
we are looking at a satellite image of Mars.
Jesus.
Yeah,
I thought that was.
and it
I
looks.
thought that was an up close of the Curiosity rover or the
No,
Perseverance looking down at the soil.
There's a satellite image taken from 350 kilometers away. So with a high resolution camera, and it is an amazing picture. I've taken it as an overview here, but if you go into the Gigapan, you can get it much closer. And in the beginning, it looks like a whole city, but it's not. It's a quarry area. But the thing that amazes me in this picture is because all the rocks here, they're everywhere, everywhere there are rocks, and they're all chopped out. Why is there no rocks in this square? Why? Is there any good explanation to why we have so many rocks? But this little square, all the rocks are gone. Who took the rocks? I don't believe Mother Nature created the area and just made that little area 50 times 50 meter rock free. What happened here? If you look over on the other side, what happened here? You can see this a straight wall down here, and it looks like somebody just took a digger and started digging. You've got something that looks like wall on the underneath down there.
Zoom in on that.
Yeah. And I was told that these were sand dunes, and I'm like, no, sand dunes don't occur in bottoms of holes. They occur on the surface where it's been blown around. If any sand comes in there, they would fill up the hole. They wouldn't just lie down there as five independently sand dunes that's about 20 meters long, 30 meters long. No, it ain't the way it's working, not on Mars either. So how is this area ended up looking like this, and what did it take to make it look like this? Because it definitely looks like somebody took a chunk out of the surface, and the same over here. It's so clear to see where rocks has been removed and taken out. When you look at the whole area, you can see it is completely naturally covered all over with big rocks in all sizes and shapes. And I believe that we are looking at an ancient quarry site, and those black lines that are all over here. I was first told that they were mud cracks, and then I said that's weird because this is an elevated area. It's going up here. Mud cracks don't continue uphill. They are on usually on a seabed that is full of mud and not rocks, and these mud cracks seems to be interconnected all over on the gigapan. This is just a tiny little outcut of the whole gigapan. It's like 500 times bigger than what we're looking at, and there are some interesting areas when you can see these connects in small islands, roundabouts, and other funny connections. I think we're looking at an ancient quarry site that was used for rocks and to take whatever size rocks you need for whatever you were building that there, and just simply just pick it up, lift it out, take it out of the area to where you need it, and then you started carving it when you got it to where you needed to have it. So I think a lot of things is going on in this picture from Mars, and it's so clear to see that there's a lot of stuff missing. Where is it gone? It's not naturally. It would all have been looking like this, not like this. And you can see over here also, it's been like thinned out in the rocks in that area also, and the same here. There's been thinned out a little bit. So there are these specific small areas where you can see there have been somebody that's taking some of the stuff in the area and left like a black hole from wherever they took it, and especially this one over here.
Yeah, somebody's just said could be an old mining the UFO man, my lad.
Yeah.
Zoom
Could
back
be an
zoom
old
back
mining
in
place.
zoom back in on that area with the weird, like, what they call sand. That one that you, no, the other one.
With the sand dunes in. This is probably
How big
the
is
best
that?
I can zoom in. This is, and I had to measure it from here to here, is about 250 meters.
Those are some big fucking
So
sand dunes.
you can figure out that if this is a pathway or an ancient road or something, it's like 30, 40, 50 meters wide. So this is not a mud crack.
It's weird though,
was,
because if you look above it, if you imagine, let's just go crazy, yeah. If you imagine, zoom back into that area, if you imagine that area, whatever that was, whether it be sand dunes or whatever, but the other one, take me to the one where that one, that one. I want to see that.
Oh yeah, we'll take this one instead. It's a little bit clear. This one.
Yeah, that there, right there. So
to me,
that's odd as shit. I mean, you why would the sand do that if it's if it's surrounded by rock?
It's because it's not
it's
sand.
Shaded.
These are construction walls for an underground construction. You can see that's been exploited. There's probably a reason for why they're docked up at exactly that place. If you have and what do we have? We can compare it with. Let's say we have a metro in Denmark. And one part there's a break in one of the tubes. They need to repair it, but they would have to dig it a hole from above. They can't repair it from the inside out. They have to take it up and repair it from above. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
I've worked on a farm for many years. We had diggers, big diggers, with big shovels on, and this looks to me like something that has been docked out on a bigger scale with some bigger equipment, and it looks too perfectly docked out. There's no like random walls, or if you look at a cliff wall that's collapsed, you can see the collapse and where it used to be. There's nothing like that. It's too perfectly cut out also on the side over here. It's too smooth, perfectly smooth all the way down. Not smooth, but straight cut. And there's nowhere in life that it's a natural thing we're looking at here. It's something artificially created, and I think somebody needed to fix something or replace something, and they had to dig up the rocks in that area.
Those rocks look absolutely huge as well.
They do. They are huge rocks. These are like 20 times 20 meters. We're looking at down here. So, that's most of. But notice how some of them are lined up in line. If you look,
it really is an alien planet, because on Earth, I've scrolled around Mars, and there's, when you're looking at it on the satellite photographs, the rocks they're crazy. There's some crazy formations.
There are.
But when
And
you see that's if you saw just two of those, you could put that as a coincidence. But there's 1, 2, 3, 4,
Mhm.
5. Then I
You
can.
got a line here of 3 rocks, for example, that you can see has been connected together. That's been chopped over. There's a fourth here lying, and you can see 5, 6, 7 lying in a row still here. Only this one that's here is the only one who's taken out of the row. If you look over here, you can see it's cut up in rows. It's all
Mhm.
cut up in rows. Look over here, it's lying in rows. You can see there's a rock here that's been chopped with an angle on it. So they're chopping rocks out of the rocks for specific purpose, and that's what's been done in this area. And it's so clear to see that it's artificial. The way the rocks are lying, the way they've been chopped and are lying around, and you can see rocks that have been removed and
I'd love
from areas.
is it a geologist? I'd love a geologist to look at this and explain it to me, but then explain that
Yeah.
in the
That
mid.
would be
It's that in the middle. The other shit, I could, that could if someone explained it to me and said, well, it's doing this because of X, Y, Z, because
yeah. When the
the
wind blows
Earth,
in the east and the water comes from the west, and yeah,
but
yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
those weird, like what looks like almost walls under the
Mhm.
ground. That's
But
odd.
actually, there's a comment in the comment box here from the UFO man saying could be the pyramid builders, and you know what? It's funny he says that because if I'm gonna jump a little bit here, I got a lot of pictures here, but got some pyramids builders. Now look at the rocks they've used. These rocks you see, this is from Egypt. The one to the right is from Egypt. The one to the left is from Mars.
Oh
These
yeah, because
rocks you
if that was
see
from,
in yeah, these rocks you see in the middle here are the minimum sizes of rocks we can see in the satellite images. So the
Mhm.
rocks we're seeing in that quarry are 3-4 times bigger than the rocks used in the pyramid, but it's a bigger sizes, all of it. So imagine you're building from that quarry side, you would be building big style, we would be building big stuff. When you look at to the left, I've compared the pyramid at Saqqara, not the Saqqara pyramid, I forgot the name of it, but it's laying opposite it with this one up from Mars. Zoom in here, you can actually see the lines in between the square blocks here as well, just like you can on this one. And this one is an inner wall. It's not an outer wall. There used to be rubbles and furthermore rocks out in front of this. So you're not looking at the front, you're looking at the inside. The whole front is gone. And this is the same you see here. But here you can still see part of the front, and you can see all the rubbles that has come from the top of the pyramid that's basically just falling down, just like you can see it up here on from Saqqara. There's no difference in those two pictures here. They are using big square blocks just like they did in Saqqara. They're using everything else to lie over and in between and to insulate it with and put layers in between. So there is a good connection for it, as the UFO man said. Could it be pyramid builders? Yes, that is a really good suggestion to what we could have been looking at before on this side here. So I hope that was a good answer to
Yeah.
UFO man.
Bloody hell. Yeah, so I mean, it's interesting to
Yeah,
say
it
the
is.
least. I
It
mean,
is.
if
Yeah,
did you find this one, Thomas?
I found that one. Yeah, these are.
Have you gone on to? You might be able to explain this to me because I look at Google Earth like
Yeah,
every now and again, not a
yeah,
lot, but I used to look at it, and there was some videos that I did about Mars on Google Earth, and they're at the top of the on the uh, north pole of Mars. There
yeah.
is literally these weird I can't explain it. I might have to show you. See if you can explain it to me. But if you have you got some other stuff to present?
Oh, I got loads. Shall I continue a little
Bring
bit?
them
Or
up on
do
screen while I find
yeah.
this, my friend, because I want
Yeah,
to.
yeah, yeah. As UFOs on Mars, here is a good example again on finding different angles of it, different pictures of the same anomaly. This UFO, we've all seen this one here that is from Google Earth. The one you're looking at down here with Neville Thompson is from Google Earth. The one you're looking at here is the same picture, just from the Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter in the high resolution picture. So it's the same anomaly again, but from two different pictures. And again, this is about confirm the anomaly. You see it from the Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter, from the high-rise image, which is a damn good one. This one here is. And then we have it again from Google Earth, where you see it from the so-called CTX images that actually this time has done a pretty good resolution on it also. You can see the object from another angle than we saw it before. Before we saw it from the side. Now we see it from the back, which is a confirmation to us again that there is an anomaly there, and it is looking like it's round. Is it a UFO? I don't know, but I know that there is something there that looks like it has crashed down here and ended up over there somehow, some way. But what is it? People have called it UFO, and that's a good suggestion. I would love to call it, and I hope that I could call it a UFO, but I have nothing but a measurement here telling us that it's 11.42 meters wide in diameter. And if I could see a little bit more of it, I could be convinced. But it does look, and I agree to those that said it before, it does look like a UFO crash. The big
For
question
me,
is it a UFO crash?
I would say if you bring it up in full,
Let me just see.
if we're gonna go down this is.
By the way,
something-
this measuring here is the work of Neville Thompson. You can see the whole length of the track is 337 meters.
I see that.
That's about 1,000 feet.
You've also got those dunes that are running down the side of it.
I think they have come afterwards over the years. What I would love to do with this picture, and this is what I did with the two first pictures we saw, the UFO and the ancient wall, is I would like to spend some time going into Google, going into my satellite software and see how many pictures there are of exactly that area, because there are always 2, 3, 4, 5 pictures of the areas. And NASA take new pictures all the time. So if it's been a year or two since we looked, there could be new pictures from the same area. So that's one of the things I would love to spend some time on here in the future with this image. We got the coordinates, we got it listed, we know where it is. We're just going to click on some buttons and then find the satellite images and see if we can find something new.
So many years ago, I did a video about this, and loads of people have done videos about it since. So this is Google it's Mars on Google. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
All around this top part, you get this weird, and it almost looks.
I gotta get you up in full screen. I got two computers going here with.
Can you see this?
Oh yeah, I see. Yeah. I've got a 20 seconds delay on the computer here. But yeah, the area where the North Pole is an interesting area. I've been up there. The ancient wall is up from the North Polar dunes, which is just below where the ice cap is on the CTX image.
I
So
mean,
you got all of them. Yeah,
there's some weird looking rocks.
these are weird looking rocks. How close can you go? Look at the altitude down in your right side and tell me how close you are, because I can't see it. It's too small.
Okay. Let me bring it. I'll tell you what. Let me
Yeah. Yeah. So what you're gonna do now is you're gonna go up in your menu box over on your right side.
menu box on the right side. Yeah.
Yeah, you got it open, and I almost can't see it,
Oh.
but there is one saying satellite imagery. It should be.
Satellite imagery.
Yeah, that should be over on the left side.
What, around the North Pole? Satellite imagery.
No, down on your right side, left side. Sorry, over layers. You got spacecraft imagery and Mars gallery. So, well, you just set it up before. On your left side and
Left side.
anyway, that's the process that can take a little while to learn. But yeah,
Yeah.
it looks pretty odd. But again, the image you're looking at now is a CTX image, which is not the high resolution, the image that we want to look at. It's an overview area. And in 9 times out of 10, when you're looking at a CTX image, you're not seeing the same on the high rise. You saw the difference between the UFO in the beginning on the M18 picture and then on the G11 picture, just to make a comparison of the quality you get when you zoom into the same size. It is a fantastic, really, really interesting area you're looking. I would love to look into that area.
It's just an odd area. It's
Yeah. And you can go in and just surf around and end up in an area like that randomly.
Yeah, you can literally you can look at if anybody goes to Google Earth and they change it to Mars and they have a good scan around Mars.
Mm-hmm.
It's so fucking surreal to look at.
It is.
And how anybody can say, oh, this is just like, it's definitely an alien planet. And I don't mean that as in like there's aliens 100% there, but even the rock formations compared to Earth and that, it's just so amazing to look at.
It is.
And see that.
It is an alien planet, and it is so fascinating. We got the same kind of nature at home, but when you see it on another planet, your brain is automatically overruling anything and telling you this is 10 times more amazing because it's on another planet. Wow. And it is, I have seen some really, really beautiful landscapes that I wanted to post on Facebook just because it was beautiful, not because there was any anomalies in it, because there are sometimes you're lucky and getting some of the good satellite images in really, really good resolution where you can see rocks down to 25 centimeters. This is really, really, you get a few of them images now and then from NASA. And when you get some of them, you'll be amazed and you'll be sitting and zooming in on one rock that might up ending only be a meter long, and you're sitting and looking at it in details. So landscape and quality and Mars is a good combination.
Do you think NASA is aware, and do you think they know what's up there?
Yeah, they know.
So
100%.
Why do you think they're hiding it then? If there's something there that would be, for also, if it's an old civilization that's long gone, and it's nothing to do with our planet. Say there was just say there was just something there, and they managed to build up a civilization on Mars, and that unfortunately it died out, or it got hit.
It died out.
It got hit by something. I mean, you've got that
Yeah,
massive big.
They lost the atmosphere and the magnetosphere,
Well, you've got
and the
a
planet
huge.
slowly died on the surface.
You've got a huge fucking scar on Mars. That thing has got a canyon that is insane, that goes straight across it. Why do you think? Because for me, if not, why is it so secret? What could be so bad that we can't see it? If that's the company that is representing Earth when it comes to anything, they're looking at one of the planets in our solar system. If there was life there, or is life there, why are they holding back, in your opinion?
Because if it's well known that there is life on Mars, everybody wants to be the first to get there. The race will start. You got China now being a competitive to America with going to the moon. You got China now preparing a Mars mission. Also, you got Japan preparing a Mars mission. You got Soviet that probably has a mission still prepared somewhere when they. Not Soviet Russia, when they finally find their way out of war, and you got ESA, European Space Agency, who's planning on going to Mars with more satellites and orbiters. All these countries are in a race, not just about being the first to come to Mars, but it's a little bit like. It's a technology race, because they all know there are something up there. If you are sitting, let's say you're sitting in a meeting with all the leaders of the other countries of this world, and they're all being told there's a life up there, there's a civilization, we got to be careful, we got to think about what we're doing, and now go home and think of it. Half of those leaders from different government will go home and start planning on doing intelligence surveillance on it to find out what kind of technology, what has it, or who knows what's up there, and how can it be used, and how can we make sure that other companies or countries don't get it before us. And that's what it's all about. Everybody knows there's life on Mars. We know there have been life on the moon as well. That it's an artificial created satellite, but how is it created and by who? That's a good question. But it's all a race in time about technology, knowledge. If there are somebody out there who actually speaks our language, it would also be about networking and collaboration. But one thing is for sure, if there's anything up there that we need, it would be a power demonstration. Because if they, for example, no, I know we can't get oil from Mars to Earth, but if let's say they had oil and we could get it to Earth, you would see America go into war right away to protect what could potentially be theirs in the future. You see what I mean? So nobody wants to be the first one who goes up there and say, yeah, we know this for years, but everybody wants to be the first to get up there, because there is things up there and they know it. The rovers are sent into area that's been deeply studied first with not just EMPS satellite.
Can you go into that? So I'm not too up on it, but I know that when they look at they plan a rover mission, they plan it for a certain reason, whether it be water, whether it be maybe signs of life, whether it be mineral deposits, whatever. These things are it's not just this area looks interesting, let's get it there. They do a bunch of research before they actually
Yeah,
send a rover to that
absolutely.
certain area.
Absolutely.
And there's been 5 rovers. Is it 5?
5 rovers, yeah.
One with the
5 rover
one
rovers.
with the silly helicopter that only pointed down.
Yeah. Perseverance rover with the helicopter. I think they are all been placed.
So when they look at that, what do you think they're doing?
They're not doing much. They if they are overlooking it all, and I believe still that there are things that are blurred out, but it's a minimum of work, because as I was about to say before, the whole area they sent, for example, Curiosity and Perseverance out to 2 different areas though, but they have been researching them so well, so they know what's in those areas. And I can tell you for a fact, and with 100% guarantee, if there was an ancient civilization in that area, they wouldn't send the rovers there. It's a little bit like being on Mars and being a Martian and say, let's go explore Earth. Yeah, but we can't tell the others that there's life there. We just sent a drone down to Sahara Desert instead. Nobody will notice anything but an old fortress in the distance, and that's it, problem solved, And this is exactly what they're doing on Mars. They're sending them specifically to those areas where they know they ain't gonna take pictures of a construction. It's very, very unlikely that would happen in those areas, but they can still get funding to keep all their projects going, and they got a lot of good projects going. They're doing soil samples, they're doing radar scans, they're doing ground scans, and they're looking at chemistry, air, wind, measuring a lot of good things that we can get a lot of research out of and use for later. But all that is just a little outcome from the original mission that is about to find.
Why do you think we didn't get the helicopter? Why did it not have a front-facing camera?
I think, for what I've known and read up on the helicopter, it was a test, and they didn't originally wanted a helicopter on the first round where they were screening the rover. That was decided later, because it was the first time we were able to try a fly with a drone on another planet. But the drone they're sending up
would it have been hard? Do you think it'd have been hard to put a front facing, or to have a mechanism to just?
I don't think it would be hard at all, but I think that NASA sees it a little bit like a test launch. They're testing the engines, they're testing the rotors, they're testing everything they need to test to be able to build something that is sustainable, that can actually work up there for a longer time. So this is just like when you make a crash test dummy car. You take all the valuable stuff out before you crash it into a wall. It's a little bit of the same. If you, it's a test object, and it wasn't originally meant to go on with this mission, but it came on and was has been a part of it ever since. They are testing communications in between the helicopter and the rover.
But Thomas, as a anomaly hunter, were you ever suspicious of why there wasn't a front-facing camera?
Always. I think that they could have mounted it easily, very, very easy. But I think they were afraid of when the pictures have to go either live or they're taking pictures of the distance, that there would be stuff in the distance. With Curiosity and Perseverance rover, when they're taking pictures of mountains in the distance, there can be something on it so far away that they can blur it out, but it's taken from ground level. When you do the same from air level, it's a little bit harder to erase, airbrush it out in a way that falls in with the pixels in the picture. And I think that's one of the reasons for why they only got one camera on that on the helicopter.
So
they don't want to but the thing is, we know they only got one camera on it but do we know the whole truth? Do we know everything? I don't think we know everything. I think we got the details. We got a specific packet of details about the equipment and the expedition and the mission. And I think also both Curiosity and the Perseverance rover have equipment that we haven't really heard of or heard much about. For example, Perseverance have a ground scanning equipment. It can scan down to 30 meters below surface. I have tried to track them down. I still can't find them.
So Elon Musk has a massive interest for a long time now in Mars. He wants he wants to terraform the fucker.
Yeah. Good luck.
Do you think
I'm with you, Elon? If you need a hand, Elon, I'm here.
Do you think Elon Musk knows anything when it comes to?
Of course he does. He knows everything. He's briefed. He's one of those who's got the highest clearance in the world as a private contractor. For a private contractor, yeah.
But what is it?
Of course he does.
In your opinion, what is it? Is it that there was just an ancient civilization on Mars, or there is actual living things on Mars right now?
There is living things on Mars right now, and I'm 100% sure.
100% sure.
100%. There's nothing in the world that can make me think there's nothing living on Mars now. I know for a fact 100% there is living beings on Mars, and there's been
intelligent living beings.
Intelligent living beings. We have been present on Mars since 1981 by a secret black budget project that was actually started in the 60s by President Eisenhower. And then Nixon officially canceled the project, but it went on in secrecy as a black budget project. And we have been on Mars since the 80s. But it's so secret that if they come out with it now, they would have an explanation issue, because we've been building fuel rockets ever since, and they have the technology to travel without classic fuel.
One would hope.
Fuel.
Yeah.
So if you go out now and say, we had this since the 80s. Yeah. Of course we had. I think there's a lot of agencies who would be pissed off spending 20 years on rocket technology when they could have had that technology. So already here, there's a little mouse trap that's clapping on your fingers if you say too much from that.
So you think they are already on Mars?
Yeah, I know that.
Humans are.
Yeah, humans are. It's not something that I normally would stand up and talk about, but yeah, I am 100% of that convinced that we have humans on Mars, and we have had it for a long time. Very long time.
I mean, if you look at space travel, if you look at when did we first go to the moon? 1960. Was it 69? That was
69 or 68. Yeah. I think it was 68, 69.
So we went there for a long time. Was it 7 times or something? We went to the moon, and then we just thought,
something like
you know what? It's too expensive. Let's just stop this now.
Yeah. And then they said we don't have the technology to go back.
And for anybody in the chat or anybody who's watching this now, if you think this is a bizarre conversation, and you're into NASA and you're into the moon and you love all that shit, yeah, think about this. They went there 7 times. They tell us they've lost the technology to go back. They tell us it's too expensive.
Do you know what I think they lost?
You do think they lost it, do you?
No, do you know what I think they lost? Was one of the reasons back then in the 60s, we didn't have supercomputers, and some of them trajectories that has to be calculated here and now was calculated by humans. I don't know if you remember some of the pictures you have seen of that woman in front of books stapled up as taller than her, with all her human calculations.
Yes.
We don't have people like that anymore. That kind of people don't exist anymore.
Geniuses.
And you can say AI and you can say this and that, but that woman and the work she did, she was a genius. You can probably do that by now with a computer with AI, but the calculations she did has to be 100% accurate. Otherwise, you would kill people in one click on a button. And I think that's one of the reasons for, besides the extraterrestrial reasons, presence on the moon, but that's also one of the reasons we don't have them superhuman calculators anymore. They don't exist anymore. It was a black woman, I remember, yeah.
Well, we are gonna when we're going to Mars, is it the next like 6 years or something?
They say 2025, and then they say it's 26, and now there's a new program for 2030, and they consider taking the original
When we
19.
when we go to Mars, do you think that's when we'll get some sort of disclosure when it comes to Mars having an ancient civilization, or do you think we're going to get that before, or do you think they're going to get there and still be researching, and we're going to watch months and months, maybe years of them fucking digging up shit?
No. If you send humans to Mars in a spaceship or craft and say, here we are, you're on Mars, now build us a base. We need a base we need a compound.
They've already got one.
They need to have it before they come. Now they're talking about, and this is a play for the theater, now they're talking about 3D printing houses, putting a 3D printer up on a rocket and let it start 3D printing houses with sand and sun and burning and 3 years before they arrive, so they would have a whole little city ready when they come. And I'm thinking it's still a play for the theater, because we already got people up there, and you are not gonna send a delegation of people up to Mars with a shovel and a spade and say, come on, you're the first, we need to build a civilization, without anything there already waiting for you. So yeah, if they chose to send a delegation to Mars, and they would be the first, they would build the biggest spaceship we've ever seen and fill it up with everything they could supply themselves with for a lifetime. If they don't do that, it's because we already got what we need up there. You wouldn't send a lot of people to Mars on Mars Mission 1 with Elon Musk and just say, here's a shovel and
do you not think he's going to? Do you not think he's going to send the Tesla bots first?
I could imagine in our AI times they probably would send some boots up first, bots.
You've seen the Tesla bot though, haven't you? You've seen his prototype.
That
would be the perfect thing to.
It would, yeah. I've seen a lot of robotic prototypes that was meant to build stuff on Mars, but it's all been on what do you call it, on design scale. We're talking about it, and this is a artist rendering out what it would look like, And I've seen a few different. I've seen some robots that actually walks and works like human physically does, and I've seen some one-wheel robot that could interconnect together and could fulfill a lot of tasks, and actually could build also.
You need to watch. You need to look at Boston Dynamics.
I know Boston Dynamics. Oh yeah, I know them very, very well.
I think robots. That if there's hostile aliens on Mars, fucking watch your backs when it comes to Boston Dynamics.
Boston Dynamics has designed a new robot that's supposed to climb up on the side of spaceships and do out EVAs, extravehicular activities. That actually climbs on the outside and can go up and help assisting before launch and so on and so on and so on also. So that was the last one I saw from Boston Robotics Dynamics, sorry. But they are a really awesome company, and they're doing some really great research, and they're making some
They
awesome
are.
robots.
Let's just hope it doesn't get used for war.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's just hope those little motherfuckers ain't gonna have machine guns attached to their back.
No.
But Thomas, we've gone for 2 hours.
2 hours, okay. I only
you're-
got 20 pictures left, so we are finished in 4 hours.
Oh, have you got some? If you want to pull some up for the next,
I'll show up for another time, and we can continue with some pictures. I got
definitely,
loads
mate.
of pictures. We've
Definitely.
only looked at today. We've only looked at 2 anomalies, 3 anomalies today, and it's taking us 2 hours.
But you know what? We've looked as I always get worried when I speak to anybody that wants to show me not you, but somebody who wants to show me something on Mars, because usually it's I'm looking at it and going, that you could look at that either way. Do you know what I mean? Your audience must send you. Don't name names because you'll lose the motherfuckers. But every so often, somebody will send you something and they go, "Check this out," and you look at it and going, "What is it?"
Yeah, what am I looking at? Yeah, I have them, and I still have them now and again. People sending me emails, and this is amazing. This should be front side news, and I get a blurry picture of something that looks like a rock. No description of what rover has taken it, where it's from, what time, or what they are seeing. Just a picture, and this is amazing. Wow, what do you think? And
I think I'm
do
going to add
apologize
something
in
to
advance, but I'm not responding to the messages if people that are texting anything about what they're seeing or just want me
Thomas.
to
I'm going to
comment.
add something to your because I know you do anomaly hunting lessons on the channel.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I've
When
made a
it comes
few.
when it comes to anomaly hunting, I would say size matters. Yeah,
Size matters in anomaly hunting. So if you're hunting
yeah.
for
There you
anomalies, you
go.
gotta measure the size and make sure you
Size,
understand what size it is.
the girth, the length, it matters.
Yeah.
When it comes to anomaly hunting, it does.
Mm,
And you know, and how the shape.
yeah. As I say in this case, I'll say the bigger the better. And
Exactly.
that's what I'm
Yeah, the
going for
bigger the
with the
better.
anomaly. With satellite anomalies, you find the biggest and the
That
best.
should
So,
be. I think that needs to be in your next title. Size
but
matters.
I think that people like it big on Mars. They
Yeah,
like big
people
anomalies.
like it big on Mars. I fucking love that.
So
Thomas,
anyway,
my
yeah,
friend, it has been a
yeah,
pleasure.
It's 10 past
We're,
1 where I am.
we're gonna say good night. God bless. Mind the bugs
Good
don't
night,
bite and all that
everybody.
jazz.
Yeah. Thank you for showing up.
Make sure you check Thomas's channel out. It is in the description below.
SpaceLink TV.
It was Mars, Moon, and Space TV, but
Was
some
Mars, Moon, and Space.
motherfucker nicked it.
They stole it. They should just be happy. I don't know who they are.
Go give him some love. He's not one of the mad ones that
No.
just puts a rock up and then
Come in
pulls.
and join me on Facebook on my Thomas Michael. It actually says there my name. I'm the same on Facebook. I post all my stuff on my private on my profile on Facebook, so you can join me in there, follow me there, and subscribe to SpaceLink TV, of course, on YouTube, and click like, get notifications.
All that jazz. Get yourself down there. It is in the description, people. And also, if you could be so kind to give this video a thumbs up and all that jazz. If you've got a mate that's into Mars, send it to him or her. Yeah. And if you want to support the channel further, you can become a channel member or a Patreon, or, you know, if you're feeling a little bit chilly, like my good friend Jezza and told Laser Man, you could buy yourself a t-shirt. Good night, God bless. I'm Alien Addict. Thomas, thank you, my friend.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Talk to you later. Bye.